Okay, so this says Will Smith thinks she made it without help.
What's poppin', y'all? A recent quote has been resurfacing by Willow Smith because it is not a new quote. And it goes along the lines of her saying that her success is not due to her parents. And it's been spreading a lot, and people have their own opinions on it. But we're going to get into this. I'm excited to get into this actually because this is about two people whose career I've actually had the privilege of following closely since they started, musically at least, even acting with Jaden Smith. And I've been a huge supporter of Jaden Smith's music, at least from, I would say, 2013, 2014 to around 2020. Iris, I didn't enjoy that project too much. Sunset Tapes was okay, but it felt like he just took a little bit of a break. So we're going to get into Willow Smith. And first of all, this quote is coming from an interview that she did in 2024 for a cover story for Allure magazine. So it's not something new, and she addressed being called a Nepo baby because that term was, well, it's a popular term now, but I would say in 2024 is where it really started ramping up. And some of the quotes that she had in here are the following. So we're going to read her quotes so we get full context and not just a headline, and then we're going to get into whether I agree with her or not. So she says, I definitely think that a little bit of insecurity has driven me harder because people do think that the only reason I'm successful is because of my parents. That has driven me to work really hard to try to prove them wrong. But nowadays, I don't need to prove ish to anybody. Keep in mind, this is 2024. And this was after she was recently asked, had been asked about what it's like to be a Nepo baby. And she continues and says, I truly believe that my spirit is a strong spirit and that even if my parents weren't who they were, I would still be a weirdo and a crazy thinker. There have been some experiences where I went into a place that I've worked in the past and my picture could even be up on the wall and they treat me like this is a little bit out of your price range or you don't really belong here. And this is where she talks about being like a black woman in America. And then she says, being black in America, even with privilege, which I'm never going to deny that I have, you're still black and I love being black. People would look at me and say, okay, well, her parents are this and that, but she's still like me. She still has brown skin. And we all know that doesn't exempt you from anything. And that's a place of connection. That's a little bit off topic from the main thing, but with the music aspect, I somewhat agree with Willow Smith. Now, granted, we have to draw some parallels here. Willow Smith was given a career. She was given a successful music career with the song Whip My Hair. And her come up in the music industry and as a musician is not the same of Jaden Smith. Jaden Smith kind of got it out the mud. Yeah, he had that song on Karate Kid, but Cool Tape Volume 1 I believe came out before he even had that song with Justin Bieber. And yes, he was a celebrity, but Jaden Smith was rapping for a long time. He didn't have a hit granted to him. Willow Smith, on the other hand, had a hit granted to her. And I think it was Jay-Z because she's still signed to Roc Nation right now. But I don't know if Whip My Hair was on Roc Nation or was it Def Jam. That was 2011. She was like, what, 10, 11 years old when that, yeah, it was Roc Nation that released Whip My Hair. So this is a completely different scenario to anybody else. But granted, she didn't really follow it up too much after that. We didn't really hear too much from her. Yeah, it was Roc Nation Columbia just to get the distribution right. And then she had a second song that came out after that didn't do too hot. This was a fun song. It was a good song. It was top 10 and it peaked at number 11 on the Hot 100, which is huge. I keep in mind, it was 2010. She was competing against major hit songs. Like if we're talking pop hits, dog, the early 2010s was a brutal place to be if you were an artist trying to get in the top 10, but it was a really pleasant place if you enjoyed pop music. Like there's so many nostalgic moments just listening to those tracks. They do a bunch of those, what do you call them, like mixes now, where they're like, oh, songs from 2011 or this is what 2011 sounds like, whatever. I listen to all of those things frequently. I go through phases though. So for Willow, she took a bit of a break and then she came back in 2015. Now she appeared on Jaden Smith's project and she appeared on the song PCH. That's one of my favorite songs ever, man. Like that song is just straight magic. Wow, what a blissful song. And her brother at the time, they were exploring a lot, they were experimenting, but Jaden Smith was bigger than her. And then Jaden Smith dropped, what was it? Jaden Smith was dropping a lot of stuff at that time, but the first project that Willow dropped, and you can even see the first album, was Artipithecus, which had mixed reviews. It was a bit more alternative. It was 4 years later. I think she might have been 15 15 at the time, or 14 or 15. And one of the songs that came out of that turned into being one of her most popular songs ever, which is Wait a Minute. Yeah, this was released December 11th, 2015. Jaden Smith, on the other hand, he was still more popular than her. And at the time, he had yet to release his album, Sire, which is like the first big project he released. But Cool Tape Volume 2 had dropped. Before that, he was just releasing a lot of SoundCloud, loose songs on YouTube. You can even see Kylie Jenner in some of the music videos, I think. Like songs like Keep Your Love, Let It Breathe, Fire, things like that. He had already released Cool Tape Volume 1. So I would say he had more momentum at this point. And then he drops Sire in 2017. And that really, that's the one that had Icon. So that one took him to the next level. He was also featured on Tyler, the Creator's project, Flower Boy, that year. A year after, he was featured on a Young Thug EP/mixtape. It was on the song Sin. It was a good song. And he was also featured on Cozy Tapes Volume 2. So he was like ramping up. At the same time, Willow was just consistent. Like she dropped her project The First in 2017, which it really didn't shake anything up too much. And then she dropped Willow in 2019. But when things really started to go crazy, and I think she found her sound, was 2020, The Anxiety. And that's where we get the song Meet Me at Our Spot, which is one of her biggest songs ever. She also had this song Transparent Soul. I don't know if that was in any project. That was with Travis Barker, which was really, really good. At this point in time, I would say 2015 plus, her parents had nothing to do with her music career. Like she had left the whole like system. She wasn't trying to be a pop star. She's still not a pop star. Jaden Smith took a break. So after, we haven't gotten a Jaden Smith project for nearly 5 years. It's been since like what, 2021? 2020 if you really want to call it that. And I don't know what he's been focused on. I remember he was on this Netflix show. So it started to change up to where Willow started to have bigger hits or just bigger fan base, be more consistent. And I solely think that's her being consistent. And it's difficult to do that when there are such big expectations and you're kind of expected to fill your parents' shoes. I do think that Willow doesn't have the musical pressure on her that Jaden has on himself, because Jaden's like, oh, that's baby Will. And Will hit the highest heights in music you could possibly ever hit with records sold and chart toppers and all of that. But Jada she didn't even make music, did she? I don't know any Jada Smith music. So I think Willow was allowed to, or had the freedom to really experiment a lot more, which Jaden Smith did, but she didn't let anything hold her back from releasing. So Willow has been consistent ever since. We could say like she's for sure a musician, and I don't think any of the success has had to do with her parents, because she hasn't had a major hit. And if you say, well, she got started off with a hit, many people aren't gifted that hit. Yeah, but she also had 4 years from where she went from 10 to like 14, 15 years old that's a very significant portion of your life at that young. And she was able to come back with a successful career. A lot of people, even if they get gifted a hit as teenagers, they're cooked, they're done. They're not coming back ever. They're probably not dropping any better music. And all of the music that Willow has dropped since has been better than Whip My Hair. That was like a kiddie fun song, which it did its job. But I'm in agreement with Willow here. I do think that the way their parents raised them allowed for them to like think for themselves a lot. If you want to call it that, you can call it they just didn't guide them properly. It is what it is, but it has produced a great artist in Willow Smith. And I do think that this is a good opportunity for a lot of people to check out her music, because she's grown a lot. She does say some off the wall, like crazy stuff, but I do think that's a little bit more her being open-minded and genuinely open-minded, not the judging type of open-minded where it's like, hey, I'm open-minded, but you have to agree with all of my opinions. And if you don't, you're closed-minded, it's quite an oxymoron, to be honest, or a paradox, I should say. And we also have to give examples of, think about all of the people that are children of successful musicians or actors that didn't make it. Like, for example, Coi Leray his father. And I don't like when people try to say Coi Leray's father gave her a career. It's so disrespectful because he tried putting her on as a kid. It didn't work. And then she did her own thing, independent of her father whatsoever. She hid the fact that he was her father and made it on her own. And then people retroactively just talk about, oh yeah, she's on because of her dad. When her dad's clearly struggling, got arrested multiple times, like chasing bags here and there. How could he put her on when the industry doesn't even mess with her father? That's whack. And then you've got other people that are kids kids of artists and they're not able to get it moving. So it's difficult to make it as an artist with hits like Willow and the longevity that Willow has had. Now, of course, she's not like a really, really old artist, right? Like she's been in the game for 10 years now, or 10 years officially since her first project. And that's not easy. And she progressed like 5 years after the first project. She had another hit song. That's not easy. A lot of rappers can't do that. So I think we have to give credit to her, even if she was put in this position, which I'm not going to co-sign that. Her being able to sustain it 5+ years, get another hit, and then now, of course, I don't know if she has a hit right now. The music that she releases is a little bit further away from the grasp, or really from our field of view, or what we're paying attention to. So it's something that I have to dive into every now and then. But I do think it's a little bit liberating for me because I can just listen to her music without caring about a lot of the other things that we have to care about in hip hop, which is, I wouldn't say it's limiting, but yeah, I don't want to get too much into that. That's a little bit off topic. So I would say that I would agree with most of what Willow said here, although the freedom for her to explore is for sure thanks to her parents. But let me know what y'all think about this in the comments. And who do you think is better, Willow Smith or Jaden Smith? Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed.
It is glad to hear that she was placed in the position to where she can try to sustain her career on her own, which that I didn't know about, because her parents, obviously we know her parents are, but just to hear that she was able to have a music career and do it on her own and be able to sustain it, shows how hard she was able to work towards like at least doing her music career on her own.